Marcus, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that are read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. One of her advocacy, helping entrepreneurs use the power of words to create a life that they want. For 23 years, no other than Miss Alice Seba. Welcome, Miss Alice on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for having me. Yeah, writing has always been a passion of mine. And 23 years ago, I had a little baby and I was wondering how the heck can I stop having a job and how can I turn my skills into something? I did fancy myself to be a fiction writer, but in the end, I discovered, content, information, and stuff like that, and kind of guided other people along the way in the power of words on the internet. At back then it was mostly text. Video was like something that was really not used very much because it dragged the whole internet down.
Yeah.
But even through video and stuff, we have so many different ways to communicate through words online. So it's grown a lot and it's more and more fun.
More fun indeed. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Yes. And today, Miss Alice, let's talk about the power of words. How content marketing builds a loyal customer. So tell us the power of words in a digital world saturated with content. Why do you write words still hold so much power to build trust and loyalty?
Well, I think like you touched on something, that there is a lot of content out there and there is a lot of noise. So someone who does it a little differently, whether it's using humor or it's connecting more deeply with audiences, like really people who can express themselves well are going to stand out amongst that crowd, right? And you just got to kind of find your own way of expressing yourself and connecting with people. And when you understand people and your audience in particular, then you know how to make sure that you are connecting with them in the way they want to, what the messages that they want to hear.
Hmm, definitely. And how does content marketing fundamentally differ from traditional advertising in the approach of building customer relationship?
Yeah, I think, well, advertising, which I do not have a background in, I came onto the internet and was connecting person to person. And I think as us as individuals, and you have a lot of authors on and stuff like that, I think we're at an advantage over the big companies. Obviously, they got more money to do these things, but I think we connect on a more personal level. I think advertising is sort of surface level. You're not, sometimes you make people think and it's more fleeting, but content, person to person content, I think has a more lasting impact and builds that connection even stronger.
Build that connection for sure. So, what is the most common misconception companies have about content marketing? Do they see it just a blogging or social media and miss the largest strategic goal?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on who we're talking about. I work mostly with, independent entrepreneurs rather than big companies, so they kind of understand that, our message is sort of the company, right? And it's us. It's we're putting ourselves out there. As far as like, I think that bigger companies, maybe it's a little less personal. They don't have the opportunity to do stuff like that. And I think that maybe they also don't value it as much in a way that, that I think there was a big opportunity, like not opportunity, pardon me, a time, years ago where, the content, big companies hiring people to do content, they just started to value it a lot less and paying people less, when well done content is still extremely valuable when it's strategic, especially if you're trying to sell a product. Content is an amazing vehicle for that, because you can educate your audience, to be ready to buy your products. You can educate them about your products. You create that connection and understanding that keeps going to keep coming up when I'm talking about content, and inspire them and motivate them to take action. Like it's so powerful. But I think they don't quite see that level of it. It's more, I think it's much more surface level, like trying, it doesn't build that lasting, those lasting results.
On strategy and connection, how does a brand move beyond creating content and just informs to creating a content that genuinely connects on an emotional level and builds a tribe?
Well, I think if I understand like the question, that like you do have to have an understanding of your audience. And that's the other thing I think, that, individuals and authors and things like that, we have that ability to really tap into who it is we're speaking to. And also the way we speak connect brings those people towards us. And when we have like a consistent message like that, it does build that loyalty, because we're helping them along, we're educating them, we're inspiring them, we're often also demonstrating things by doing them, right? So if a larger company is trying to, they often have, influencers and stuff like that who will demonstrate things, but it's fleeting. It doesn't feel as genuine as like an author who may be demonstrating something that they have learned to do in their life, and they're connecting with people on a content with content. It is more personal and more believable. In the other cases, maybe it feels a little not as genuine. And that, if you're hiring influencers, then, they go from one thing to the next. So yeah, I think that really being, knowing the people you're talking to, understanding them, and making sure that, when you're aligning with that audience, that you will get that bigger connection.
Miss Alice, can you expound the phrase on your website where creative people start and grow their business, building the lifestyle you want to start right here?
Absolutely. Now, this website is our eKit hub. It's kind of a hub for the other things that we have, but and I haven't actually looked at that in a little while, and I love it. I could see, yes, because a lot of the people that we work with are creative people. They're people who have like a big message. We do work with authors and coaches and stuff like that, and they are on more the creative side as opposed to that business and marketing side. So we try to connect those things, and that's the beautiful thing about content, is that you can be educating and you can be promoting your products at the same time. Now, the lifestyle part happens where, I think that we are at this wonderful time in the world where we can create the lifestyle we want. That doesn't mean that we're going to all be on yachts and doing things like that, but really deciding what's important for us. If it's family and stuff, being home with your kids, and that was what was really important to me. That inspired me. A lot of people who we work with are, they're caregivers for their ailing parents or for children who need extra care. And it's about creating that balance of, growing that business, doing it smartly rather than, working their butts off, like doing it in a way that they get a lot of impact for the work they do. So yeah, it's all about that. It's all about figuring out what's important to you and lining everything up. And the internet just offers that ability for us to be able to do that.
Definitely, and thank you for sharing your website to the world, Miss Alice. And let's talk about customers' journey. How does the role of a content change from attracting a stranger to nurturing a prospect to ultimately retaining a loyal advocate?
Right. Like, I mean, I think when we do content, I think one mistake that a lot of people do is they think content is separate from the sales process, and like that it's two different things, and they shy away from talking about their products and their content. But I think if we create books or courses or coaching programs that we think really help people, then the content we're going to talk about relates to that. And you're going to mention topics. Let's say you have a course about gardening or something, and you're talking about a certain aspect of gardening in that course, then you are going to want to mention it when you're giving out content about it. Maybe you're teaching people how to get their bulbs ready for winter. I don't really garden very well, but just an example. um, but and then you have a book on it or you have a course on it. Like, why wouldn't you mention it? So I think it's a great opportunity to be talking to people, providing real value to them, and also letting them know about your products all the time. So you're making that connection. So that's bringing them to products. Or maybe you also have something that you give away for free, right? In return for them signing up for your mailing list. You may have a little checklist or something that they can do their gardening with, to do their winter gardening with, and they leave their email address and they're on your mailing list. These are the things that you blend into the content that you're sharing, and you're mentioning it all the time, and it all kind of goes together. I think that you should always, a lot of people plan their content and their products or their things very separately, but I think it all goes together because you want people to know. It's actually a disservice. Like, I think of creating content as when I speak to my audience, I'm speaking to, like, I'm speaking to a friend, and I would recommend something to a friend. If a friend had a problem, I would give them a solution with a product, no questions asked. But when it comes to selling our own products, sometimes we shy away from mentioning our own, but that's kind of not fair to your friends or your audience if you're keeping that stuff back. So share freely, share information freely, and share information about what else you have to offer freely.
How can company identify the core values and shared belief of its ideal customer and then reflect those back through its content to create a powerful sense of belonging?
Okay. Can you repeat that one for me? Because there you touched on a few things, and I want to make sure I get them all.
how are how can a company identify the core values and shared
Okay.
belief if its ideal customer and then reflect those back through its content to create a powerful sense of belonging?
Well, I think it's just it's authenticity, and that word sometimes is overused, but it's true. Like, if you're manufacturing your core values to accommodate an audience, then there is probably going to be some mismatch unless you are like stellar marketer or a company that has, huge budget and you can do stuff like that. But I think when it is what you believe in and it's reflected in your products and it's something that speaks to them, I think that just comes out. Or maybe you're trying to move me to a different like aspect of it, or, and I'm not sure if I got it, but I think that's it. Like, and how can you identify them? It is, it's why you do stuff, and why, when your audience reacts to something and they like something, and how that feels and how that goes towards the mission. It's all interrelated, and really, I guess, authenticity again. Like, that's it. That's how you do that.
Authenticity indeed is the key for everything, especially storytelling. On psychology and building trust, beyond providing values, how does consistent, reliable content actually build psychological safety and trust with an audience over time?
How does it build? I think that
Yes.
you're
How does consistent, reliable content actually build psychological safety and trust with the audience over time, just like what you're doing on your blog?
Yeah, I think because that it's kind of like a community, right? That people kind of, that they always have something to go to, that they can always, because I think that's what people want. I mean, we are in an age, it's changed a little bit. We are in an age where people scroll and they scroll through like everybody's stuff and random stuff and whatever the algorithms share with them. But I do think that people still want that consistent content from the people that they admire most and they follow. And when you can keep providing something for them to go back to, that that does generate the loyalty. But I don't think that people, one thing I mistake I think people make is that they think like consistent doesn't mean it has to be at every day or at the same time, or you have to be on every social media platform and you have to be putting something out. I think you still need to be intentional. If you're just posting because you think you have to, then I think that degrades the quality of it. So be intentional about what you post. Plan it also, because sometimes if you just wait for that intentional inspiration, it might not come. But there's a balance to that as well, because when you're intentional, your content will be much more valuable. So even if you're consistent but less frequent, but it's intentional, I think that's far more powerful.
Totally, totally empowering, Miss Alice. Authenticity plus intentionality for sure. That will be a big, big, well, outcome. And Miss Alice, as helping entrepreneurs, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
And helping them, well, we have launched a new short-term goals is getting just people getting sharing their message. We do have a website building platform where they can come in, and we have a lot of stuff that's done for them and ready. They can just come on in, and there's content that they can use that's pre-made. And so that is something we want to have more people doing, just to get out there, because that technology is quite, for people who are creative, the technology is overwhelming. So we're trying to eliminate a lot of that.
True.
Like we sometimes have people who they haven't been able to log into their account, and it's kept them from doing something for weeks. But it's like, how come you didn't ask just for help for that, right? That we are trying to like eliminate that hurdle for them, and then build it from there. And we would love to have our platform out there with, in more people's hands who need this. We have a lot of people who are retired, or they're maybe also don't they're not working because of health reasons, or they're caregivers and stuff like that. So really want to empower more and more people to create something for themselves, so they have this lifestyle that suits them, right? Again, it doesn't have to be a lavish lifestyle. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about, if you're a caregiver, like being able to not be stressed out all the time, not having to go out. If you're, caregiving takes a lot of energy, then you are able to work as you want, do something that you love, something creative, but also that. So we just are really, in the long term, really trying to get more and more people to be able to do that and get more meaningful content out there too, instead of just the little snippets, and like reels are great, but some of them are like, whoa.
Good luck to your goals, Miss Alice, and looking
Thank
forward
you.
for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
What is like creating content, or
Yes, us helping
what is,
entrepreneurs.
oh, so helps other people who want to help entrepreneurs, or entrepreneur people who want to be entrepreneurs. Sorry.
Both, mess.
Oh,
Both.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for people who want to be entrepreneurs too. Like, it's about consistency, and also helping entrepreneurs is about that too. Is that, there is a lot of noise, there's a lot of distraction. I think that everybody, even though they say they want to start a business, we're living in this crazy world of distractions, right?
Yes.
Netflix, new 24-hour new 24/7 news, everything. So it doesn't have to take all your time, but you have to develop that consistency, right? And like I said, consistency doesn't mean working your butt off or anything, but you have to develop that discipline. You have to get through those hurdles of where it's hard to, sometimes the technology or other things trip you up, but just take it step by step. Don't don't stop worrying about what's 5 steps down the road. Just do the next step, get help with that step, and keep going. And then develop the, because once you're doing it for a while, you'll be like, I don't even know why this was hard.
Yes. Easy to do when you're
Yeah,
doing every day.
after you develop that discipline and you learn stuff, yeah, it's like, wow, I wish, some people take a long time to get to that point, and you'll be like, well, I wish I just stayed consistent with it.
Thank you for that advice, Miss Alice. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Well, I'm going to give you a, as you probably noticed, I try to answer questions differently. But I wanted, because you said that influenced my journey and that I have trouble with, picking one book or something like that. But one thing I sort of want to give advice at the same time is that I love to read uh, biographies or memoirs and read them, or also listen to audiobooks of people telling their stories more than business books. I do read them, and there've been some good ones, but nothing feels like it like really was like this big huge moment. It's all little things, but when you're listening to other people's stories and how they're telling them, you learn a lot from that, and you learn about how to tell your own story, and you're also learning about people, and how people think, and that helps you understand your audience, but it also helps you understand how you can express your own stories. And some of my favorite recent biographies, memoirs I've read is Remembering by Sinead O'Connor, Finding Me by Viola Davis, which I actually happened to listen to audiobook format, and it was in their own voices. And it's even more powerful when you can hear these people share like really powerful stories, and how it just kind of makes you think about the world and how you can help people, but also how you can share your own story. So those are a couple that I really enjoyed in that regard.
Well, thank you for that recommended book, Miss Alice. And how does a brand maintain authenticity and avoid content fatigue, or both itself and its audience over the long run?
Yeah, that can happen, right? And I think it's
Yes.
okay to I think it's okay to go through ebbs and flows, and like where you do get tired and you need to regroup and you need to think about it, and you can't be you can't be online all the time. And it's just, I think, planning ahead too, doing things just on a whim when you feel like it. I think you get trapped in this, like, I got to do something, and or maybe you're on doing too much of it. That planning it and being strategic, thinking about your products or books that you're going to be releasing, and planning your content around that. And it's okay to take breaks too. Just get back on it.
Yes. It's okay to take a break, people. Take a break. Have a
Mhm.
Kit Kat. Okay.
Yeah, that too. That would be delicious.
Definitely. And Miss Alice, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love letters in third season, and Movie 101 Review and Music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to
Can I
them
ask you a question?
wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Anus, finally, if you could leave our audience or viewers with one piece of advice or for harnessing the power of words that build beloved brand, what would it be?
So how about one piece of advice? So, I mean, just really get a good understanding of who you are, what you want to accomplish. And that's the big thing, right? But it's a
True.
journey, and it's going to take time. But the more you are focused on that, you learn so much through content publishing as well. And you learn so much about yourself, and just be conscious of that. And you're going to grow. And then what you think you are today, in a year or two, you're going to be somebody else. And but that's a part of the journey as well, and your audience comes along. When you connect with your audience, they come along with you on that journey. So yeah, just embrace it, and it's not just about getting content out there, about promoting products. It's about, becoming a better version of yourself as well.
Yes, people embrace it and enjoy the journey.
Yeah, you are.
Miss
to produce a lot of
Alice.
content. Yeah.
Yes. Miss Alice Seba, thank you so much for sharing your
Thank
knowledge
you.
and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your business, or whatever projects that you're doing right now? Miss Alice, where do people can reach you?
Well, they could come on by ekithub.com kind of gives you an overview of what we have, but come on by ekithubuniversity.com and you can take some free marketing courses. And numu.com is our website building platform where you can try us out for free. We have lots of done for you kind of turnkey kind of websites. You can start from scratch, whatever you're comfortable with. But we have lots of guidance and support to help you along the way because you never build alone when you build with us.
Yes, people will support Miss Alice Seba because if you support her for sure, more and more empowering business to come. So, Miss Alice, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
More to come, people. See you soon.